Well, good evening, everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, and the time is 6:35 p.m. My name is Michael Paylor, and I am the hearing officer designee at this hearing for the Montgomery County's Department of Transportation, MCDOT, for the replacement project of Montgomery County Bridge number M0056 on Redland Road Bridge over Mill Creek in Durwood, Maryland. Here with me this evening to conduct this public hearing are Mr. Tim Couples, Chief of Division of Transportation Engineering, DTE, for Montgomery County Department of Transportation, Mr. Barry Fuss, Bridge Design Chief of DTE for MCDOT, and Ms. Angel Chang, Project Manager at MCDOT. Mr. Couples will be providing the information and details regarding the proposed project. Thank you so much for joining us on this virtual platform. Although we have held quite a few virtual hearings, we are still learning. So please bear with us if we encounter any technical difficulties tonight. Tonight's hearing is being held virtually and it is being recorded. A link to the recording will be posted by 6:30 p.m. tomorrow on the project webpage of the Redland Road Bridge Replacement Project. The link to the project webpage is provided at the top of the chat on this virtual platform. Please note your video camera is turned off by default this evening. This is to reduce the bandwidth of the meeting, maximize technical efficiency. We request that you do not turn on your camera during the hearing. Likewise, your microphones have been muted. Once the testimony portion of this hearing begins, those who have signed up to testify will be called on and unmuted when it is their turn to speak. If you have not signed up in advance to testify but wish to do so, please raise your hand by clicking on the reactions at the bottom of your screen and then clicking raise hand. If you are joining us via telephone only, you may raise your hand by pressing *9 on your telephone keypad. Please wait until the testimony portion of this hearing to raise your hand. You may raise your hand at any time during the testimony portion of the hearing. We will call on you to provide your oral testimony and unmute your microphone when it is your turn to speak. Written testimony and comments may be submitted as well and will be considered with the same weight as oral testimony. Following the testimony portion of this hearing, we will hold a question and answer session if time allows. During that time, you may raise your hand to ask a question, or you are welcome to type your question in the chat box by clicking on the chat icon at the bottom of the screen. Tonight's hearing is being held pursuant to Section 4953 of the Montgomery County Code. The purpose of a public hearing is to obtain resident testimony and comments regarding the potential project to assist in determining if the project is in the best interest of the public and whether or not it should be authorized for construction in its entirety or any portion thereof. This forum allows you to provide testimony either in support for or in opposition to the project. Testimony and comments received may influence the final design. Your testimony and comments should be focused entirely on the project, which is the topic of discussion. All interested persons are entitled to be heard at this hearing. However, the testimony portion of this hearing is not a forum for dialogue, question and answers, or cross-examination. Please direct your remarks to the specific project that is the subject of this hearing. If comments stray into areas not related to the project, I will ask that you refocus your comments to the subject project. Following the conclusion of this public hearing, the record will remain open for one month to allow any person who is unable to attend this hearing an opportunity to have their comments included to the public record before we consider. The official closing date by which written testimony and comments must be received is Friday, July 7th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Submissions should be provided by the online comment form at the following link, which is seen on your screen, which is https://tinurl.com/redland-bridge-comments, or email to Angel Chang at angel.chang@montgomerycountymaryland.gov by the close of the hearing. Please be sure to provide your name and property address on your submission. Written submissions will be considered with the same weight as testimony. At the conclusion of the hearing, and when the record is officially closed, I, as the hearing officer, will review and weigh all the information submitted into the public record and make a recommendation to the Director of the Montgomery County Department of Transportation, Christopher Conklin, for his decision regarding the final detailed design of the project. And now, to discuss the replacement of Redland Road Bridge over Mill Creek, I present to you Tim Couples. Tim.
Good evening, Mr. Paylor, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, I am Tim Couples, Chief of the Division of Transportation Engineering for Montgomery County Department of Transportation. The subject of this evening's public hearing is to consider a proposal to replace the Redland Road Bridge number 0056 over Mill Creek and other associated work at the approaches. For your convenience, we have posted a few downloadable displays that aid in the visual description of the project on the project webpage. We will review them as I describe the project. Display A is a map showing the orientation of the project site. The red circle indicates the location of the bridge to be replaced. The bridge is between Muncaster Mill to the north and Needwood Road to the south. Display B provides a quick review of the existing Redland Road Bridge to be replaced. The existing bridge was constructed circa 1925 and is composed of an approximately 24-foot 5-inch single span concrete slab with the asphalt flooring surface. This structure carries a 2-lane 25-foot 5-inch clear roadway with a 1-foot 4-inch concrete parapet on both sides for a total out-to-out width of the bridge of approximately 28 feet. Display C includes example photos of the existing deterioration at the bridge referenced from the 2019 bridge inspection report. The bridge currently exhibits several areas of delaminated or spalling concrete, and in addition, the opening beneath the bridge is undersized for a 25-year storm event. Displays D1 through D3 present the scope of the proposed work. 1 is to replace the existing bridge with the proposed structure. This includes removing the existing bridge deck, abutments, wing walls, and foundation. The proposed structure is a 37-foot long single-span bridge, which includes a new foundation, abutments, wing walls, pre-stressed concrete solid slab beams, and concrete wearing surface. The proposed bridge width of 48 feet will accommodate a future shared use path that is part of Montgomery County's master plan for this area. Multiple utilities will be relocated prior to bridge construction in order to facilitate the work. 2, we will resurface and repave the asphalt roadway approaches to align with a new bridge. 3, full depth roadway installation is required adjacent to the bridge, while the roadway will be milled and overlaid approximately 100 feet from either end of the full depth sections. 4, we will perform stream restoration work to Mill Creek. After construction of the bridge and the roadway is completed, the stream will be rehabilitated to provide an adequate aquatic habitat with erosion-resistant features. The bridge will be closed to traffic during construction. Display E depicts the proposed vehicular traffic detour route for the maintenance of traffic during construction. Proposed detour road, shown in red, follows from south to north, Crabs Branch Ray, Shady Grove Road, and Maryland Route 115 or Muncaster Mill Road. Proper temporary traffic detour signage will be installed for both directions along the detour route. The total project cost is currently estimated at $3,500,000, including engineering, construction, and construction management costs. The acquisition of funding is underway and is anticipated to be included in the 2025 MCDOT budget, that's fiscal year 2025. The design of the project began in the fall of 2021 and is expected to be completed in the summer of 2024. The construction is anticipated to take approximately 12 to 16 weeks in the summer of 2025, pending approval of funding. This project is using accelerated bridge construction techniques in order to limit the road closure to summer months, as Redland Road is a vital bus route for the public school system. Scope items, such as some utility relocations and stream restoration, can be performed without a road closure. The project cost, funding, and schedule are subject to change as the project progresses until it's complete. Pursuant to Section 49-52 of the Montgomery County Code, there are no properties which are considered to be specially benefited by the proposed improvement. Therefore, no properties are expected to be assessed. Several exhibits are incorporated in the public record binder for your information and consideration. These include the approved FY20 or fiscal year 23 project description form for capital improvement program number 509753, Redland Road Bridge number M0056, design plans at the level of 60% completion with the latest revisions, the 2019 biennial bridge inspection report, Washington Times newspaper online advertisement proof and Montgomery County governmental press release, written testimony provided prior to and after this public hearing, a list of attendees, which will be added following this hearing, and the hearing transcript, which will also be added following this hearing. Project-related data and files can be downloaded from the project webpage at montgomery-county-md.gov/dot/projects/Redland Road Bridge/index.html. The files will continue to be available to the public until the record for this public hearing is officially closed. As previously stated, here with us this evening are Mr. Barry Fuss, Ms. Angel Cheng of MCDOT. In addition, we have Mr. Michael Mercado and Ms. Katie Whiteman from the engineering consulting firm Mercado Consultants present at this hearing. We will be available after the hearing to answer any questions regarding the construction aspects of this project. And now we'll turn things over back to Mr. Paylor.
Thank you, Mr. Couples. We will now hear testimony from those in attendance who wish to testify. If you have not signed up to testify, but decide that you would like to, please click on the reaction icon on the bottom menu bar and then click raise hand icon to raise your hand. Alternatively, if you join the meeting by phone, you may dial *9 from your telephone keypad. Let us know. Once you are invited to speak, please clearly provide your name and address for the record prior to beginning the testimony. We will begin with those who have signed up in advance to testify this evening. Again, be sure to announce your name and property address before providing the testimony. Ms. Main, would you please announce the approximate number of speakers that have registered to submit testimony into the public record tonight?
Actually, we do not have a testimony list. We'll just go with raised hands tonight, if that's okay.
Okay, that's certainly fine. Then I will move off my time restriction for the moment. Okay, so now we'll go to testimony. And so if I can get your assistance, Ms. Main, in making sure that we get the individuals who would like to speak in order, announce the speakers and we'll proceed from there.
Okay. First, we'll hear from Mary O'Neill. Mary, can you unmute yourself?
Hello. My name is Mary Ann O'Neill. I live at 2 Beth Ayers Court, Durwood, Maryland. Was I supposed to provide any other information?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I drive this road multiple times a day and have so since about the year 2000. I guess I have a couple concerns. I'll list them as expeditiously as I can. If the bridge was inspected in 2019 and there was delamination noted then, I guess I'm concerned that a total of 6 years will pass before the bridge is actually reconstructed. I'm concerned that the guardrails were put up. For a while, it was just the concrete sides of the bridge, and we were told the bridge couldn't be replaced because it was historic. The guardrails while maybe protecting people driving across the bridge, only made the road narrower. I'm concerned that you talk about leaving a right of way, but there will be no sidewalk across the bridge. Right now, it's extremely dangerous for bikers and pedestrians to get across that bridge. There was just stream remediation done to keep some of the standing water off Redland Road. Is that going to be undone by the construction of the bridge? And then just a comment on general, I know you said limited to Redland, the bridge project. Most Redland Road is very narrow. The side of the road is crumbled because it's pavement until there's dirt, and people speed and people cross the lane. There are deer, there are bicyclists. And so it'd be really nice when you made the new road, if you made it wide enough so that there was some buffer between the outside line and the gravel or dirt, and made sure that the roadway didn't crumble. It is that way all along Redland Road and all along Muncaster Road at this time. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mary.
So appreciate it. Yeah, and again, before we launch into the next speaker, please make sure that we keep our comments directed toward specific project that we're discussing tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we'll hear from Joseph Miller. Joseph, you're unmuted. You can speak. I'm afraid we're not hearing you, Joseph. We can circle back to you. Oh. Yes, no, I'm sorry, Joseph. We'll circle back. Actually, we don't have any other raised hands.
Thank you, Joseph. We see your note. Is there anyone else on the call tonight that would like to? Oh, there they are.
There they are. Yes, indeed. Okay. Steve Zupas, can you unmute?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Just clarification again, how long will the project take before it's completed and when does it start?
Steve, could you please again for the record state your name and your address?
Steve Zupas, I live on Grand Vista Drive.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, just a confirmation, clarification. When is the project expected to start? When will the road be closed? And when is it expected to reopen?
So right now we're doing testimony only. We can answer your questions as soon as the testimony portion of this hearing has ended.
Okay.
We'll provide that answer at the end as soon as we collect everyone's testimony.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Next we'll hear from Ravathi Vikram.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Am I unmuted?
Yes. Yep, you are.
I'm Ravathi Vikram and I live on Catalpa Court, and I've lived here for over 15 years and I use Redland Road a lot. My concern is at this point, the road, Redland Road towards the bridge is a big slope and traffic goes very fast down there. And as I know, as you've said, it's narrow. Is the road going to be raised, or are there going to be like any speed bumps or something to keep the traffic from speeding down towards that bridge? Is the bridge going to be raised up so that the road would be less of a slope? Am I clear on that?
Again, at this point in the hearing, we're taking testimony and not answering questions.
Okay. So one suggestion was whether speed bumps would help to slow people down as they approach the bridge. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joseph, can you try to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I hit the button and it said unmuted. But anyway, as long as there's a sidewalk, on the, and I think it would go on the Briardale side of the Gaither or the Shady Grove side. That's where I think is where the other bridge has a sidewalk. So as long as there's a consistent sidewalk running all the way down, that's all I care about. Yeah, 'cause we need a bridge. That's a fact. And as long as there's a sidewalk. And that's
Okay. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. And as a reminder, if anybody else wishes to speak, would you please be so kind as to provide your name and address before you begin your testimony? Thank you.
Okay, next we'll hear from Christine Rutch.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Christine Rook and I live on Founders Mill Drive. And one of my concerns is right now that road is used as a cut through to get to Redland Road. And I saw the picture of the detour and I'm wondering if it could be enlarged just so I can see it. My understanding through email was that the detour would not go through Founders Mill Drive, but that it would be on roads that are of a similar structure that Redland Road is now. So that's my concern, what the detour will be.
Okay, so this is the testimony portion. They'll be answering the questions about the detour after the testimony portion. Did you have any other comments?
No, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll hear from Paul Barton.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I support what the earlier person said about getting making the bridge wide enough for a sidewalk. But it looks, I didn't have a chance to really study the exhibit, but it looks like the bridge may be wide enough for sidewalks on both sides of the road, which seems like the prudent thing to do, to allow for sidewalks on both sides of the road in case they want sidewalks eventually on both sides. I would suggest building, since you're going to have a bunch of the road closed now for a long period of time, I would just go ahead and building a sidewalk on one side of the road while you're doing the construction. So then the second point I wanted to make is about, I saw the map with the detour, I didn't give my address. My address is 16533 Baderwood Lane. So I'm concerned about the potential for cut through traffic through Parkside Estates, namely on Baderwood Lane and on Briardale Road, because that's kind of the obvious, the shortest route. You know, if you're coming up Needwood and you turn right on Redland and head up towards the bridge that's closed, you're probably not going to reroute yourself back to Crabs Branch. You're probably just going to go ahead and cut through on Briardale or Baderwood. So my concern is that that even though you've got an official detour route, that people may not follow the official detour route and they may cut through on Baderwood or Briardale. I'm also concerned about what mapping programs like Google Maps will show, and whether they will route people on the official detour or will they route people on the shortest route, which is through Parkside Estates. So, and then my third question is about the buses, that there's 2 bus routes that go on Redland Road through the area of the bridge. So I assume you'll reroute those onto the detour. So I'd like you to address that also. So those are my 3 comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, that's all I have, Michael.
Thank you so much, Lori. Just to be sure, is there anyone else on the call that would like to testify now for the record that hasn't done so already? All right, as a reminder, written testimony will be considered with the written testimony and comments may be submitted as well, and they will be considered with the same weight as testimony. We certainly appreciate your testimony and participation so far. Seeing that everyone who wishes to speak has had an opportunity to do so, this concludes the oral testimony portion of the public hearing. Right now, we're going to move into the question and answer session. Please click the reactions icon and then raise your hand, and then the raise hand icon to raise your hand, or press *9 on your telephone keypad if you wish to ask a question. You are also welcome to type your questions into the chat box. And although I don't anticipate this, but if for some reason we run out of time before answering all the questions in the chat box, those questions will be answered by email in days to come. So, Lori, do we want to go ahead and start with the questions that have already been submitted by the participants so far, and then open the floor to additional questions?
Yes, absolutely. I actually don't have any questions in the chat. Tim, did you?
Well, we did get some
Yeah.
in the offered as part of the testimony. So
Yeah.
I've been keeping a note of those, and we're happy to, clarify, and if folks want to raise their hand, if I didn't get them all down quite right, then we're certainly happy to have a conversation. This part of the hearing is obviously going to be, it's much more structured to a conversation rather than, the strict gathering of comments. And if you do have additional comments that come to mind through the course of the question and answer period, we still do have the court reporters here, and you're always welcome to submit, written testimony, as Mr. Paylor mentioned. And so the first question that I have written down here, kind of, why are we referencing the 2019 inspection report? Well, that's the one where we, the project entered the program. It got to the point that, looking ahead, we had to plan, knowing that it takes 5 or 6 or 7 years to do these projects, that it was time to start working on the design. All of our bridges get inspected more frequently than that. Typically, it is every 2 years. And we monitor bridges that are concerning, even more frequently than that. So I know one caller wanted to know why are we just getting around to it now? The bridge is safe, and it will continue to be safe. And we do this well in advance because it takes so long to get all of the environmental permits and approvals and secure the funding necessary to do these projects. The other question that came from that particular commenter was, would we raise the road as part of this, in order to do, address speeding. And I think that's more of a comment that we can take back to maybe bring into design. The road profile will be adjusted a little bit because we're going to obviously replace the structure type. But its intent really is not to minimize the change, because we don't want to impact the park. And so that comment, though, to address the speeding, perhaps there may be some other things that we can look at as we progress from like where we are right now at 60% design through 75, 90, 100%, and look for other mechanisms. So hopefully that answers that question. Other question was, when will it close and for how long? And so we intend to request final construction money in the FY25 CIP cycle. That is what will be deliberated on through the course of the fall, and the county council will take those requests up and debate the budget beginning in January. The CE makes his recommended budget in the end of the year. Council begins deliberations January, and final budget is adopted in May. So that's the time frame, and depending on what year the money actually gets put in, will drive when we can go to construction, because we can't go to construction without the money being appropriated. That said, in the year that the money is appropriated, and we certainly hope it would be in fiscal year 25, the construction contract will be awarded, advertised, awarded. We would anticipate starting construction after school is out and completing it before school opens. So we're talking, around this time in 2025, and by August of 2025, the road is reopened. So about 12 weeks or so. There are utility relocations that are necessary to be performed, and stream restoration that really can happen independent of any impacts to traffic. Certainly for the stream restoration, sometimes the utility companies, have some flagging operations to keep their workers safe. And so you may see some early construction activity preparing the way for that road closure in advance of that. And there may be some work done after the road closure portion is completed, to kind of wrap up the project and make it all look good. But the intent here is to minimize the impact of the construction on the public. That's why we're selecting accelerated bridge construction techniques for this one, because it is an important bus route. Yes, we would. That was another question that someone asked. Yes, we coordinate with our ride-on folks, and we do relocate the route during the road closure, but the service will still be provided. Those were all the ones that I had written down, and I think we have some in the chat. Let's go.
We do. Love Summer would like to know, she lives on Mill Creek South and is also very concerned about cut-through traffic that is being recommended by Waze, Google Maps, Apple Maps, etc., and wants to know if the county can minimize this in any way.
Yeah, so we will do our best to provide signage to intercept vehicles in advance. That's always a challenge, minimizing the cut through traffic, and we don't have any control over those algorithms that route people. They're time-based algorithms, and so in preparation for this meeting, I went and I used some of them to see what the time impact would be of going via Crabs Branch, which is what we are going to officially sign, versus the more local streets, the neighborhood streets, and even the Metro Access Road. Metro Access Road is probably the quickest route, but we don't control that. Metro owns that, but I suspect the algorithms are going to send a lot of people up that way to Shady Grove Road and bypass the traffic light at Shady Grove and Crabs Branch. So yeah, I mean, we'll do the best that we can with signage in advance and direct people to the designated route, but we have limited control over those apps, unfortunately.
Okay, that's all I have for now. Does anybody else have a question? Joseph Miller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to talk about the sidewalks again. Is there going to be a sidewalk on it, and is it going to be like two sides, or what's the plans for that?
Sure, good point. I neglected to write that question down. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing it up again. So I'll ask our project manager, Angel, to jump in. I think we are following what the master plan calls for in providing room for the shared use path. I'm not sure that the sidewalk is what's called for in the master plan. Angel, do you want to
A shared, you mean like a bike and walk?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yep, that's great.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep. I don't even live on that side, but I know
Yeah.
we just need to connect the neighborhoods.
So that we're a comment because the funds that this are for the replacement of the bridge, and so we make the bridge wide to accommodate this on the bridge, but it was a whole other ball of wax to kind of construct the continuous. I wanted to be clear on that we're proposing the bridge funding specifically to address the structural issues and constructing a continuous path, kind of linking from the neighborhoods to the bridge, I think is the gist of your comment. And that's a design input. I think that, it's good input, and Mr. Paylor, I would imagine, would include that, comment in his report. It may be the kind of thing that has to come from a different pot of money rather than the funding that is set aside for bridge repairs.
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah, like I said, if you don't have it there, it'll never happen. But if you do have it there, it can happen one day.
Yes.
This is Angel Chang, the project manager from MCDOT. I just want to confirm what Tim Couples was saying, that the bridge structure itself is wide enough to accommodate a future share use path. But again, the main focus of this project is the replacement of the structure itself. So thank you for your comment.
All right, sounds great.
All right, thank you, Joseph. Next, we'll hear from Don Dean.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Following up on the question about cut-through traffic, I realize you can't control the algorithms, but can you do things to slow traffic down? So when they do use the cut-throughs, the speed limit, the speed is reduced?
Possibly. That's something we can look at as the design progresses. I wouldn't want to venture, what techniques might be feasible. But it's certainly a good comment and something that we can try and look at to try and, make it incentivize folks to use the designated detour route.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a question from Mary O'Neill.
Hi, I did type a question, but I can read it. I typed a question in the chat.
Sorry.
Is a concrete surface going to be more or louder than an asphalt surface? We have a big problem with speeding vehicles and modified exhaust systems. Is there any difference in that?
Not really. Haven't been under a lot of bridges in my life inspecting them. It's about the same. There's really no discernible difference, especially once you get this particular bridge where it is located. The decay function for noise is an inverse square, and so for every if you double the distance between someone listening and the noise source, it goes down by a fourth. And so 100 feet, it's going to go down significantly. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be, it wouldn't be within the realm of what a human ear could detect. Being an engineer, I don't want to say that there's no difference, because we're very, I could probably calculate that out to the nth decimal point, but it's certainly, the human ear can only perceive a difference of about 2 decibels, and it certainly would be much less than that.
Okay, well, the distance from the ICC certainly doesn't do anything to diminish the noise from that of a jet engine about to slam into my house. So I was just wondering about this.
That's also one of the things that the noise analysis does is it looks at the background noise, and that's another thing that just it's not going to drown out what is already there from the ICC.
Well, we were told when they built the I know that I'm getting off topic. We were told when they built the ICC, Shady Grove Road was already so noisy that we wouldn't notice more noise from the ICC, and that certainly wasn't true. I do have a question. A lot of trash flows into the river, and I know there are devices like Caltrans has some to trap trash that ends up, trash that falls in grass isn't going to go into the creek as fast as trash that falls on a hard surface and will be washed into the creek. Is there any thought or plan to mitigate the amount of trash that's going to come from the roadway that's being replaced, to stick to the project at hand, the roadway that's being replaced into the creek?
No, I don't believe the plans currently contemplate that, but that is exactly the kind of comment that these forms are intended to solicit.
Right, so I can send you information. Caltrans has something called a gross solid waste removal device that only needs to be emptied once a year. And that sounds like something that would be great for anything going over creeks in Montgomery County in general, especially this creek and this roadway. So I'll let other people have a turn.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I do not have anyone else.
Thank you for that, Lori. Just to confirm and make sure, does anyone else on the call have any questions on this project? Mary? Is that a fresh raised hand, Mary?
Oh, yes, it is. Mary O'Neill.
Yeah. Do you have additional questions, Ms. O'Neill? Or maybe you thought you were putting your hand up and down and the button clicked a couple of times.
No, I did want to ask a question.
Oh, go right ahead.
So other places I've seen have no through construction traffic and then local traffic only. So I don't know if signs like that could mitigate. I live in the Parkside Estates neighborhood. I'm concerned also because during the summer, there'll be a lot of kids and people at the pool. And that is a very quick cut through from Redland over to Shady Grove Road. Okay. So that should be special attention paid to make sure that people aren't speeding through that area.
Okay.
Now I'm done.
All right.
Great. So that was the going once, going twice. Does anyone else on the call have any questions they'd like to ask the team?
Oh, we just had a question in the chat. Excuse me. Douglas Turl would like to know, will the storm drain along Redland be improved to handle heavy storm runoff? Specifically, the pipe going under Redland Road towards Muncaster. On several occasions over the last 30 years, we have lived here. The road has flooded from the bridge to Briardale.
Okay, that is a detail I'll have to ask our project team to let me know if that's in. And I'm not recalling off the top of my head what we're doing with the storm drain.
Hey Tim, this is Michael Mercado, the design consultant. I believe he's referring to there is a storm drain pipe that is approximately 50 feet south of the bridge. It runs diagonal underneath the road. Is that I guess the person's only available via chat. Is that the storm drain pipe that you are referring to?
Yes.
Okay, that pipe will remain as is. However, the drainage conditions along the road will be improved. For example, an inlet will be placed on the southwest corner of the bridge to help capture additional runoff. So there will be an improved hydraulics at the bridge and improvements to the storm drain system around it. That specific pipe is not slated to be replaced, mainly because when we did our initial inspection, the pipe was in good condition. However, we can assess that and check and see if the capacity does meet current drainage code. But as of now, the project does not extend that far south. It is just going to be essentially mill and overlay at that point. So resurfacing, it's a fancy word for resurfacing, up to the proposed bridge, replacement of the bridge, and then beyond it, mill and overlay as well. And then those improvements where we're adding that inlet will be right at the southwest corner of the structure.
So it sounds like something we can look into as the design progresses. Thank you for the question, which is turning into a comment. Okay, you know, I see a few direct messages to me that you guys are probably not that are not in the overall chat. So let me skim through real quick and make sure we covered everything. So there's Mr. Turles. It's the same question we just addressed. And then Marilyn Young. She lives on Redland Road. My driveway is between the bridge and Briar Drill. How will this make getting out with increased detour traffic? Okay, she lives on Redland between the bridge and Briardale. I think while the bridge is closed, you're probably going to be pretty happy with getting out. I think that's going to be you'll probably wish the bridge was always closed by the time we're done. I think it'll be much more easy to get out because we're going to be diverting the vehicles before they get to the bridge. Okay. I don't see any other ones that were direct messages.
I'll ask once again, is there anyone else on the call who wishes to ask a question about the project? All right.
Oh, Mary O'Neill has a question.
Mary just got in under the wire.
Yes, indeed.
So I just wanted to, I had a comment I posted. There was just a stormwater runoff riparian management work done exactly around the bridge area. It was done a few weeks ago. It was a Montgomery Parks project. Are you aware of that?
So we do coordinate with Parks. They have to issue a permit for us to do this work.
But were you aware of the work just done?
I'm not aware of the work just done, but we will reach out to them and find out what's happening and make sure that it's been coordinated with our design. They have seen our design, you know, as we've developed it. So we'll definitely run that down because we want to make sure not only that it's coordinated from a drainage standpoint, but we don't want our contractor alleging a differing site condition and try to charge us more after we did the project. So
well, and I don't want you to undo. I don't want you to undo what our tax dollars just paid to do.
Yeah. We appreciate the heads up on that.
Take some pictures and share it, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that.
Okay, I do have another one that came in directly to me. Where will construction vehicles be parked, prohibited from the neighbors? That's something that we would address not on the drawings, but we would address in the construction contract. And that's a good comment, and that's something that's easy to add to the construction contract. For a project like this, when you're closing the road, the construction vehicles, the best place for them, because our workers are lazy and they don't want to walk any longer than they have to, will be within the portion of the roadway that's closed. But that's something that's very easy to put into our special provisions and put restrictions on that. And then we can enforce that as a contractual requirement.
Is there anyone else who has a question? All right. Well, thank you again for everyone who participated in the question and answer session. And please note that questions can also be emailed to the project manager, Ms. Angel Chang, after the hearing. Seeing that all questions have been answered, we will now conclude this public hearing. As a reminder, we will be keeping the record open for 1 month. Written testimony and comments are due by Friday, July 7th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Any additional written testimony and comments may be submitted by email and must be received by the close of this hearing. Those submissions should be sent to Angel Chang, Ms. Angel Chang at angel.chang@montgomerycountymd.gov, or they may be submitted by the online comment form following link, which is seen on your screen, https://tinyurl.com/redland-bridge-comments. We certainly appreciate your participation tonight. Thank you for your comments and questions. At this time, the public hearing is concluded. We hope you all have a